MRC Tier 1 Race 7 coming at you live here from the tight, twisty streets of Monaco. We had an average race from Tier 2. Let's see what the big boys can do in Tier 1. I'm looking forward to an excellent night of racing and one of the most important qualifying sessions of the year. And joining me, alongside me in the commentary box tonight, is my own teammate. It's Andrew Morster. Andrew, how are you doing tonight?
Evening, Mr. Tier 2 winner. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. We won't mention that yet. I was going to maybe bring that up later in the stream. But yes, I had a day out, as they call it, in the trade, and quite a nice one. But I'm interested to see which one of these Tier 1 drivers will do the business tonight, because as we were discussing before, we've got some serious aliens around here, and I want to see what a stupendous lap around here actually looks like.
Yeah, I think has anyone got Area 51 on speed dial? I think we might need a few new recruits to send to them.
Precisely. Let's see who's out in the front at the moment. Then we've got Call Me the Brave, so we will see what he does on his outlap. Now, I might have mentioned to you in the race briefing before, but if you don't know, you've only raced Monaco one time. The lowest you can put your fuel around here is 4.2 laps. So if you want, Call Me the Brave, he's missed his braking point into
He's got a Rosberg.
He has. He's decided to go for a little drive, so we will focus on LRL instead in the Williams. Fingers crossed he won't suffer the commentator's curse and do the same.
That beautiful Williams, who hopefully, I believe I've heard they are planning some special liveries towards the end of the year. Ooh. As well, around Singapore time.
Oh, that's lovely. They had that wonderful livery, didn't they, at the British Grand Prix, which you can get in-game.
They did. There was a few fantastic ones at the British Grand Prix, but I believe I've heard something with Golf. They're going to be doing something similar, hopefully, to what McLaren did a couple of years ago around here.
I'd be very interested to see what they do with that. Right, we've got LRL firing up for a fast lap, so let's go on board. I'm going to take everything off the screen there so you can really bask in the glory that is Monaco. You go around the last corner, and here we are. You're going to rev it all the way down into this infamous corner. It's Sandoval. Brake late, really hook it in. You can invalidate on the inside of that turn, so you've got to be very careful. Then it's up the hill. It's a bit left, right, but it is all single file. And he's so quick through here, through the left-hander. You want to turn right, that right wheel almost wants to kiss the barrier, miss the bump, look for the yellow bit on the outside, and hook it in once more. Then you're into the hairpin, one of the slowest slowest corners on the entire F1 calendar, into first gear at full lock. And then you're up through this point. You want to use as much of the barrier as possible if you can, and then it's through the tunnel. Another unique section of this F1 track that really adds to the character of Monaco. Then we're into the chicane. You're looking for the 100-metre board at the bottom here. And you can cut this corner quite a bit, as you can see RL did, and he hasn't invalidated. That's perfect. Now into one of the most exciting parts, the swimming pool section. You can go flat out through here, and he is, and then it's this corner. It's all about making sure you don't take too much of the sausage curve. He hasn't. Into this final hairpin, you're begging to get on the accelerator, you can't quite do it. There's that little traffic cone, just for people who are in cockpit camera view, so they can see where the apex of the corner is, and that is a 111.295. That is quicker than any of the laps I did in Q1. I think we're going to see
Joni just smashes it completely.
What was Joni's time?
10.5.
Blimey, we were on board with somebody who was 0.7 seconds slower than Joni. Of course, remember around here, it's such a short lap. It's the shortest lap on the F1 calendar as well. So
it's got to be one of the smaller ones, definitely.
Yeah, those gaps are just multiplied and multiplied. So a tenth could probably equate to like 2/10 or 3/10 around one of the longer circuits. So to smash the rest of the pack by about half a second. Save it up into second as well. J Starge in the McLaren up into fourth. FW in the Red Bull up into fourth. These guys are not hanging around as they start to put these quick laps in.
Well, as you mentioned, this is a street track, and you've got to really sort of say build the confidence to get a lot more pace around here. Really, you've got to make sure you're on the limit and know where the limits are, and just be comfortable there. That's how you get the best amount of time out of this place.
Yeah, you are. No, I think you're exactly right there. I mean, when you want to push is qualifying, right? But you want to build up to it. You don't want to do the Banzai lap right at the start, because if you get it wrong, you do a Charles Leclerc, you'll have, half your car in the side of the wall, your gearbox change penalty or whatever. It'll be a right shame. But for everybody, when you're in the race, that's a different beast entirely. You're running at about 75% in the race, because you don't want to. sorry, we've got Lorpy in the barrier. His car has just dissolved into nothing, so thankfully it's not going to hold up qualifying, but Lorpy will just have the one lap down 11th. Yeah, sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, also, if you're Ferrari, they will forget to check your gearbox, and as soon as you go to the parade lap for it, you'll break down.
Yeah, precisely. Bad memories there for the Monegasque, who hasn't always had the best of luck around here. I wonder who's going to have the luck tonight. Chris Bailey, worth pointing out there, he's done a few cycle laps on the mediums. He's already in third place with a 1:11.7. He was looking very fighty in MRCX and got it slightly wrong under wet conditions.
He broke his front wing though. He's had a bit of an excursion at Tabac.
Oh, he has, and yeah, you're right, there are no front wings on that Mercedes wagon, so he'll be into the pits. Oh, a little bit of a...
sliding round Anthony knows.
He is. Jeremy Clarkson, power! I will admit, right on, and this is going to annoy people who are far more knowledgeable about F1 than me, but corner names, I'm rubbish at. So I love Bahrain, because they've just got all numbers, but round here, every corner's got a name. But I think that I've got a reliable co-commentator in yourself, Andrew, who will know this track.
You're testing me now.
Like the back of his hand.
Testing me now, aren't you? Okay, let's have a go.
Well, let's have a look. Shall we stay on board with who's on an out lap? Era Voice, who was in Tier 2. We'll stick with him, and then when he goes on a fast lap, let's see if you can take us on a lap round here and name all the corners, because there's such history around these corners, isn't there?
Oh, definitely. And that glorious Alpine, who I went to go visit. I visited a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, yes, you did. No,
not gloating, but let's keep an eye on Era as he's coming through last corner. Anthony knows down the start-finish straight that is not a straight. For here into No Heroics corner, also known as Sandoval. Up the hill, as you said, single file here, but it's not really a straight line, is it? With him up to the top Casino Square and down towards Mirabeau, which you got to hook the rain gully. I think there's a rain gully on the inside. A lot of the drivers say you got to hook the hotel hairpin, as you said, the most finicky corner on the whole calendar. Portier, where Verline went flying a couple of years ago, and straight down into the tunnel, which is probably the most unique part of this track, as Aerovoice blasts out from the other side of the tunnel into the Nouvelle Chicane. Beautiful line through there. Up towards Tabac, which is a very finicky corner, I find, on this track, through the swimming pool. Beautiful over the last sausage curb, towards the Rascasse. Very nice line through there. Anthony knows, and he's just about to finish the lap with a 1:12.4, which puts him very snugly into P11.
Excellent lap from Aero Voice, and excellent commentary there from yourself, Andrew. If you're in the YouTube chat, give him a round of applause, because yeah, I was mixing up my corners in my head. I was going around that fast lap. I was thinking, oh my goodness, I don't know any of these. I kind of know them. I should know them. And
I don't have a track map open before anybody says a word.
No,
I don't have a track map open. This is the sad fact, is when you've been watching the sport for nearly 30 years.
Yeah.
Just keeping an eye over Joni's gone quickest, but SW's encountered some traffic right the first part of his lap. He's not going to be happy with that.
No, it's a bit difficult. There are bits of the lap where you can get out of the way. I think as you're just coming, the section that he's coming through here just before the tunnel, you can get over on the right hand side and get out somebody's way there. Or if you're really desperate, you can go down the escape road. But if you don't have your track map open on here, I don't know what you're doing, because track awareness, particularly in qualifying, is so important. I'm going to stick on board with Chris Bailey, who has decided to put a set of softs on for the first time. His first few laps we know was set on a pair of mediums. He was up 1.5 in the first sector. I wonder if that's going to improve as we go into the second. Still keeping it.
It's purple through the second sector.
Yeah. I wonder how much. I mean, this lap at this current pace, if he keeps it, he'll be up into at least third, I reckon. Oh, lovely little wiggle there out of that last corner. It's going to be across the line with a... Excellent. Up into third. Jay Sarge up into second as well in the McLaren.
They're so close from about second down to about sixth or seventh. There's only about at least half a second, if that, between them. It's insane.
Yeah, we've got we've got the alien up top there with Joni, who's pulling away from the rest, but I mean, we talk about this so often in the race, how important qualifying is around here, important is in to be in pole, but there's a lot of strategy that comes in around here that if you're not careful, it can catch you out, particularly if you throw a safety car into the mix.
Yes, especially because you've got to know when to pit here, because not that I'm trying to demoan anyone from the Tier 2 race, there were a few people I felt who possibly ducked in a bit too early and you got caught up in that traffic, and it showed, and it destroys your race.
Yeah, well, you've just got to... round here, I think the important thing to do... Oh, sorry, Saviour, just on board there as he came round the Rascasse. He just absolutely lost the back end, so that's going to have ruined his lap. He is going to stay on. I think he's going to try another fast lap and go again, but yeah, lost a huge amount of time there, up 1.3 seconds, so the Alfa Romeo man will go again. Yeah, there is the temptation, I think. Safety car comes out, 5 laps in. Oh, goodness me, I've got to pit and get on a set of hards. They'll take me to the end of the race. They will not. Hards will last round here, 25 laps? Maybe. Oh, sorry, there's a Mercedes in the background there. Who's that? Well, that's Chris Bailey, saying how quick he was, and he's done it again.
Oh, no.
He had a crash in here in MRCX, and yet that isn't abandoned. I can't see it now. It's gone off the track, but he'll be praying that these times don't come down, because, yeah, if you crash too early in Monaco and those times keep ticking down, you could have got, stayed in the top 5. You might end up, 10th? There's a lot of drivers who are just within a 10th who will be waiting for this track to rubber in.
Yeah, as you say, there's at least probably down to G-Star, literally. There's about a 10th, there's about 2 tenths between them there. And especially even if Calvin, Bergen, Kid Dynamite, they start warming up for good laps,
yeah,
they could be in for this. But as you said, it's with the street circuit. These are normal streets. Every day that people commute to work to, there's going to this needs to bed in more.
Yeah, and sorry, as you said, you bed in with the tyres, and as we were saying before, you bed in with your confidence, right? You just go faster once you know the limits of your car, and you start pushing that little bit further. I am going to. We've missed both his laps, but I've noticed that Ujoni is on an out lap, so let's see what a superhuman can do around this track and what he is doing to everybody else. Finding an extra half second round here is an incredible feat, I would say. Let's see how he goes. Yeah, just to finish my point earlier about when to pit on this track, the guidelines are that the mediums will go about 18 laps, then the hards will go 21. I found personally when I was doing a career road race that the hards were awful after about 21 laps. They felt bad. So you might be able to push them 25, 30, but any longer than that, you might be really struggling, particularly if somebody is on a much fresher set of tyres. Let's go on board.
I found out my hards were going around 16, 17, because that's what happened with me. My tyres were going a bit, and that's when I skimmed the wall and lost my front wing on the first attempt. But
yeah, I think around here, particularly with this new game, we've talked about it a lot, but the tyres sort of completely change their profile once they reach 20, 30%. Then you've got to change your driving style. It's almost as if when they get to that point, you've got to drive as if the track is slightly damp, right? You're a little bit softer on the accelerator. You've got to be smoother. You've got to let the car, not push it too much, not drive it as banzai into every corner as you were when they're completely fresh. Because if you do, that's when the car gives way.
Yeah, this place, it's not, I don't think it's really almost about out and out pace, it's survival more than anything.
Yeah, it's a mindset as well, isn't it? Johnny, I don't know if he just caught the edge there, but he's backed out completely of that lap and a bit of a car in the way.
He had a Red Bull up in front of him, though.
Yeah, so he's going to go again. Just backed up. Yeah. And as I was about to say earlier, the lowest amount of fuel you can put in your car around here is 4.2 laps, and the ERS will last 2 laps. So if you want to go for 2 laps in a row, you can around here. And I actually found it quite beneficial, because I find that even though my tyre's a little bit warm, I've got more confidence after I've done 1 push lap, and I can go again. I don't know if you found the same.
I didn't really do 2 actual push laps I couldn't really
yes.
I couldn't really do 2 push laps in qualifying after some technical difficulties with my wheel, which I probably will have to disassemble and take a look at probably after my race on Thursday. But no, it wasn't the really best place for me in the world to have technical issues this time. As it, Jody's hit the wall.
He has hit the wall, so he's finding the limit now. Is that going to be the type of stuff that makes, that's probably his fast laps over now, isn't it? So now I'm going to go on board with Jay Sarge, who has to get out the way.
So many cars, there's oh my god, they're all backing up right at the end of the lap.
It's a car park. Nobody do a Schumacher where you just park it and ruin somebody else's lap, please. I think this is probably the most heavily stewarded qualifying session that we all will get all year, because it is so vital. There's a lot of cars
I've just seen slow cars coming out the pit lane.
Yeah, all slowing down. Thankfully, letting Jay Sarge through. So, he'll want to get
a few retirements. Slayer called me the bravest and spin the squad. Oh, he's done what I did.
Oh, that's a shame. I wonder if he was just trying to let more people past, and as he slowed down, it's disqualified.
Yeah, that's a shame, man. I know that feeling, but you keep it clean, you keep the strategy going well, you can have a good race.
Yeah, you would usually say that 20th place is a bit of a death sentence race. It was Calvin up into second place. What a lap that is from the house man.
Come from my old teammate.
Yeah, that's incredible. A lot of traffic there for Jay Sarge through the tunnel. He'll be swearing under his helmet there. I wonder if it's affected him. Let's see what the time says as we go through sector 2. Is he going to be up or down on his previous time? Oh no, he's still made up time. That's 0.2 seconds. That will be enough. I think if he keeps it up, maybe just to challenge Calvin and go up into second place. He's going to want this final bit to go so perfect. There's a Haas in the way. It's going to have to go pretty quickly. The DRS zones opens. Is he going to get the toe? Is he going to benefit at all if he cross the line? And it is a 110.78. So enough to moving up into third, but not enough for second place. Not enough for that vital front row.
Don't think he's going again, Sarge. I think that's the end of his qualifying.
Yep, he's pulled out. So I will go on board with LRL, the man in fourth place in the Williams. Had a really good session so far. Can he make an indent into any of the drivers above him? At 0.075, so pretty evens at the moment. But if he keeps that up, that would be enough to leapfrog Jay Sarge into third place.
Should be. That's I just got a quick check on Xavier. I don't think he's going to get another lap in.
No.
About half a second down.
Oh, SW up into second place. So there were 10.448. Excellent lap there from the Red Bull man. And
half a second he's gained.
Yeah, and they're getting closer and closer to the man up top. Joni, I don't know, will he live to regret his decision or his ability to push? LRL is down 0.032, so he's pretty evens, but at this rate he's going to have some sort of miracle through the Rascasse. What can he do to find any time through here? It is so hard to find any time around here because, of course, the track doesn't really vary that much across. Up into third place, he's leapfrogged Calvin. That was an excellent last sector, gaining at least a tenth. That's third for the Williams man. And that's the end of qualifying, so these are the last few laps. Just won't have time for another. I'm going to stay on board with G-Star Snipes in the other Ferrari. The other driver's on a quick lap. Oh, he's gone very wide there. I do wonder if he just made slight contact with the barrier. It's simulation damage in Tier 1, so imagine if he did, he would have a lot of carbon fibre over the track. It hasn't turned out that way. Let's see if he can improve that distinctive yellow helmet. And it's going to be across the line, and it's going to be
10-7.
Yeah,
excellent. A bit of improvement. I don't know about position.
Up into 7th. I think he jumped one position. Nick PT was unfortunately invalidated. Kaiser Soze right at the back there. He's making slight progress on his time. I think this is, if you have a look at our grid so far, you can see everybody who's really close together, and then there are those that are just... There's a class of people who just struggle around Monaco. They hate it. It's an instant skip on career mode, and I don't blame you. If you don't like it, it's 39 laps of this place. It's not very fun.
Although I will say one thing. I will say one thing regarding this track that I've picked up from in the last few games, especially since I've made the change myself. It's a lot better on the wheel than it is on the control of this place.
Yes, I think it's one of those things where there are lots of tracks that I say like kind of flow tracks. I'd say this one is, Japan is one, another that once you're in the zone. I don't know. Have you seen the Senna biopic? when they talk about him getting in.
Bits of it.
Yeah.
I need to watch the rest of it, but I know Cardinalson is an F1 fan.
Yeah, no, great film. If you're an F1 fan, go and watch it. But yeah, he talks about getting in the zone, and I think that's what you need to do around here. Anyway, less baffling and chattling about that movie. Let's go into the grid. So we've got Ujoni in first place in the Ferrari, another excellent lap there from our previous Tier 1 championship winner. We've got SW in the Red Bull in second, LRL in third in the Williams, Calvin fourth, J Sarge fifth, Bailey sixth, G Star seventh, Saviour eighth, Bergen in ninth, and Nick BT rounds out the top 10 in the Alpha Tauri in 10th. Then it's Kid Dynamite in 11th, Eddie Dust in 12th, Zemar, who's had a very strong race in Tier 2, it's in P13, Kaiser Soze 14th, Aero Voice 15th, Lorpy 16th, Bit in 17th, Cool Me the Brave 18th, the Slayer in 19th, and unfortunately Ant had that disqualification, so he will start from the back of the grid. No formation map, remember, so we are going to go straight into the race. Have you got anybody that you'll be looking out for in this race, Andrew?
I will keep an eye... I'm going to keep an eye on Calvin, actually, with this one, I think.
Yes, I think that was a very strong lap from him right at the end.
Oh, and yeah.
It's what's going to happen at the front row, isn't it? If we say first is so vital around here, but you get the right launch at the start, and second isn't the worst place to be either. I do wonder what we're going to get from the tyre strategies as well. We had our race leaders starting on hards last time. I wonder if anybody will opt for the medium or maybe go mad and put on a pair of softs. It's not the type of place where you can make up a load of places on the softs, but different strategies abound. There was even one person in the last race who made a medium to soft work, and it did okay for them. Right, just as we...
Would this very nice gentleman like cricket and is an Aston Martin driver by any chance?
Correct, it is, and it was very, very lucky. But I will stop waxing. I will stop waxing lyrical about that. Maybe in a safety car chat, I can bore you all with my tale of that. But let's focus on the race in hand, as we have 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights.
5 lights.
And we're away.
Let's
Here we're
go.
off. Joni, he's given us a bit of a struggle at the start. He ghosted at the start. I don't know what's happened. My one's saying that SW is up in first, but that's not what is being reflected on the screen. As we hair away into the first corner, it is Joni in the lead, followed by LRL and then SW behind. We go down. Let's get
fourth. Sarge, Calvin, and Chris Bailey rounding up the top 6.
Yeah, let's go and get the tyre details as well. So we've got Igoni starting on the mediums, LRL on the hards in second, and SW, everybody starting on the mediums all the way back from LRL there until Lorpy. So if Igoni can get a bit of a lead, I wonder if LRL is going to be the roadblock at the start, and if their people are going to curse him for going on the harder time.
I think there might be a few expletives being aimed possibly at the Williams garage tonight.
Yes. Oh, goodness me. Kaiser Soze with 3 seconds for corner cutting. That's the earliest one I've seen in the game, unless he's just got it completely wrong. And Zanmar is out, DNF. And that's a virtual safety car, so just will becalm the field for a bit. I think he's lost... Where's he lost that? Oh, that was the corner that you said just after the Nouvelle chicane. That one day... To back. You said that is a really tricky corner, and I would agree with you. It's all guts, all glory, isn't it, through there?
Yeah, you either clip the inside wall and rip your front wheel off.
You've got to have such trust in your car that it is going to hold, and on other F1 games, I feel that I would always sort of understeer into that barrier. Tonight, I felt fairly comfortable around here, and again, it's about... This track's maybe not about finding the speed at every corner, but making sure that when you've got 39 laps, you're comfortable, because it feels like a long race, this one. It's one of the most mentally taxing ones on the calendar, I'd say. Because, one mistake, and boy, do you know about it.
Yeah, definitely. It's a crazy one.
Let's just go, let me see if I've got the position change at the start, see if anybody made any big moves. So, goodness me, Bergen is down 8 places. He's got a drive-through penalty as well for speeding under the virtual safety car, so it's just gone for bad for worse for him. Eddie Dust down 6 and Kaiser Soze down 5, so all of those struggling are big winners then. Lorpy up 5, up from P16 up to P11. Corby the Brave also up to P12. Ant started 20th on the grid, now finds himself in P14. He's feeling very happy with himself.
it's what Ant's got to do. I mean, I was in the same position, and you've got to just keep your nose clean and just keep out of trouble with this place.
Yeah, there's a lot of survival. Oh, goodness me, look, we've got the Red Bull all over the back of the Williams man here. He desperately wants to get past. Remember that DRS is available this lap. But
it's only available at one place on this track.
Oh, is he going for his side-by-side? He does. That looks so easy. MRL seemed to just open the door, and SW said, thank you very much. And the medium runner is up into second place. What an overtake right here. I thought we might see none, but lap 3, well done, everyone.
I hate to show off as well a little bit, but Tier 2 shows you can actually overtake around this place.
You can. It is one of the places which I said in my stewing notes, you can make a move if you think you're alongside enough. He was alongside enough. He got such a good exit out of that corner. And it shows that maybe the tyre difference is enough there. MRL isn't proving to be the roadblock that I thought he is. And it's Jay Sarge who'll be the next man to fight past him. And you just know when somebody's faster than the car ahead. Look how much up the gearbox he is. Look at how much extra track he's having to take up. And oh, it's LRL has just gone straight into the pits. He's off those hards. He's had enough of those. Is he going straight onto the medium? Has he got damage?
I'll have a quick look.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a wing change. I can see a front wing red for the Williams.
Damn, so yeah, these cars do become semi-undrivable. That's a safety car as well, so maybe he's picked the best time to go out. It's Kid Dynamite and Saviour out there, so I'm not quite sure what's happened. Somewhere if there was a coming together of cars, or if they've both lost it at the same place on track, but that's two big championship contenders. I think Kid Dynamite coming into this race was leading the championship by a point, and if you're going in the lead now, that'll taste very, very bitter indeed to lose it here on lap 4.
Yeah, so they'll be kicking themselves for that, but we've got the race next week to look forward to as well, look.
Yeah, where are we racing? It's in Spain, isn't it, next week?
Yes, I'm not saying new, but readjusted layout.
Yeah. Of course, I've always got a soft spot for Spain. Some of my favourite race car drivers are from there, of course. Carlos Sainz and the man, the myth, the legend that is Pedro de la Rosa. So, yeah, really looking forward to racing around there. Let's see if anybody decides to take the opportunity to go in for an early pit stop. As I said, I think this is a bit too early to get off the mediums onto the hards, and the majority of people are agreeing with me as BDR Calvin goes past that pit stop. Past the pit lane.
Yes, although speaking of a certain Spanish driver, I think I read one of the bit of rumour about one of them today.
What's that?
Before we started racing, apparently one of the Ferrari might be having to look for a new man soon.
Oh, is Carlos moving to another team or just out of the sport entirely?
I've heard a pre-contract with Sauber 2025. There's a rumour.
Interesting. Gosh, so that'll be... So that's Alfa... Sauber is Alfa Romeo as was, right?
Yes, they are Alfa Romeo at the moment, who, surprisingly from what I've heard in the news, are going to be title sponsors for Haas coming up soon.
Oh, okay, weird. So they're doing that sort of shuffle, just like the Orleans went on to the Alpha Tauri, and you have to have a weird bit of red that was on another car the previous year. Yeah, okay, that seems bizarre, but... Yeah, that'll be... I thought Bottas was sticking around, so that means Zhou leaves, but that seems a little harsh on Zhou. I mean, Sainz is probably a better driver than Zhou, but it seems a shame to lose what is quite a talented rookie driver, particularly after his performances at Hungary.
I think he's going to be... I think from what I've heard, he's going to be a pre-contract agreement for 2025, because we all know what famous German four rings are becoming that team in 2026.
Yes, yeah, precisely, and they might be looking for a slightly different roster of drivers then. Let's focus on the race in hand then, as we're all trundling along behind the safety car. Bergen is the man languishing at the back. Has he done a stop yet? Yes, so you can see everybody who's done the stop, so all from 11 up haven't decided to take a pit stop. LRL, Eddie Dust, and Kaiser Soze, Bit and Bergen have all decided to take a fresh pair of tyres, and a bit on fresh pairs of hards as well. LRL going on to a pair of mediums. He started on the hards, remember, so I think starting on the hards around here is a risk. If you have an early incident, you are forced onto a pair of mediums that, I tell you what, definitely won't go to the end. So that's the problem.
It was a risk. It was a risk for myself when I started the race. But as you say, you just have to keep out of trouble. I don't know how I did it. You have to just keep out of trouble, and then you can just sort that out.
Yeah, well, I think a couple of safety cars really do mix things up here, don't they? Because you've got everybody from, what do I say, from 12th downwards who've made a stop. So you get another safety car and people decide to pit then. They are going to come out behind the likes of Slayer, LRL, Eddie Dust, Ant, etc. And those tyres will just be a lot slower. It's a fact. And around here, the challenge, as always, is overtaking. Not only just getting in a position where your car can go for an overtake, but doing it safely and not end up shoving anybody else into a barrier. You have to have so much trust in yourself and your fellow race car drivers, but we do have the safety car in this lap, so let's go on board. I'm going to go on board with SW. I think this is one of the simpler safety car restarts because you're not really under threat, are you, as the leader?
No, not really, but I've just noticed something else as well. It's a very nice looking safety car for this place as well.
Which one is it? Is it the Aston?
It's the Aston.
Aston.
Johnny's running him very slow through that last corner. I think let's see a bit of contact.
He's
away now, though.
He is. He's gone. And I don't think, as I said, SW hasn't really got. There's nobody down the pack. It just doesn't really offer you the chance to get side by side at all. Oh, there's a load of shattering of carbon fibre at the back there.
Johnny's missing his front wing.
Oh,
Johnny's
goodness!
got no wing.
Goodness me, he's got it wrong into Sandoval. Cold tyres, maybe a missed braking point, and now is he going to be able to defend from SW? Is side by side, and no, he's not. And J Sarge is also going for the move. He knows he has to get past now, and they're going to go side by side through the.
Gotta get him around the. Oh, there's going to be contact around the hairpin.
Little tap, but yeah, there's going to be absolutely no downforce on the front of that Ferrari. I was running 50 wings round here at the front. You want all the downforce you can, so if you take that off this car, it feels like an absolute shopping trolley, and that's a disaster for the man who wasn't pole.
He's going to be all over the place. He's going to. You've got to worry. You've got to watch for the guys behind him, though. They don't. I know they're losing time to the front too, but you don't have to make the silly overtake on Nijoni. No, if it's a wounded car. Yes,
he did. I think he hit the barrier there, so Calvin made the most of the ghosting, and Bailey's gone through as well. Yeah, I think Yodi has just decided that it is safer if he pulls the car over to the side, lets everybody pass. It'll be into the pits for a front wing change. Such a shame for the Ferrari man, but that's really opened the opportunity up for the Red Bull. SW started,
and
what was it?
As well.
P3, P4 on the grid. I'm trying to think where he was. Position change. He's up one place. Okay, so he started, P2 on the grid, but he's really made it work for him now.
Definitely, and this promotes Sarge up as well. He's going to have a look at this. Be all over the back of that Red Bull.
It just goes to show that we were talking about it earlier, weren't we? It's a race of survival. Joni is the quickest. We saw him beat the rest of the field by half a second. If you can't keep it out the barriers here, you are going to, have so much trouble. And there it is. Safety cars just come in. He's 18 seconds off the rest of the pack in P16. Where are our main battles on track? J Sarge is looking very racy behind SW for the win. And further back, we've got a gap of about half a second. You do see these trains starting to form. One train that is catching my eye at the moment is that behind Call Me the Brave. It appears to be one of the stoppers at this track.
In the bottle.
It is DRS now enabled, so maybe somebody will take the opportunity. We've got a yellow in sector 3. I think that's Kaiser Soze who's had a moment.
It is. He's got no front wing on the Haas.
That's another person into the pits. And every time you lose a front wing and a safety car doesn't come out, it's even more damage to your race. I'm going to stick on board with Era Voice, who, behind Call Me the Brave. You have to be so careful when you are in these trains. Cars at the front, car behind you. You just want everybody to behave, know their braking distance, because it's so easy to get it wrong. On board with LRL there. Is he going to have a little move onto the Slayer? He's not. Look at those cars through the chicane. Sorry, through the hairpin. Such a gorgeous sight. I don't know if there is a better sight in Formula 1. It's certainly one of the prettiest. Oh, LRL side by side. Is he thinking of a move? Can you get it down to the Nouvelle Chicane? Has he got the run on the Alpine driver? They are side by side. No. Thinks better
Although
of
he
it.
is missing a piece of his front wing, though.
Who? Slayer?
LRL.
LRL. Oh, goodness me, yes, he is. Just let him blow. Oh, that's a big moment.
To back.
So that's brought out the yellows in sector 2, 3. No virtual safety car or safety car as everybody carries on.
Two front wings missing. The two front wings missing. The Slayer's missing a wing, and so is the Williams. Ant is a bit of a sandwich at the moment.
Yeah, as they both dip into the pits there. I just wonder if it was the Alpine of Slayer who had a moment and LRL just didn't have time to react and went into the back. It was, yeah, one of those chain reactions that can happen around here when everybody is scrapping. If that's two people who will feel that their races are affected a bit more, they'll put on a pair of hard tyres. They can go to the end, but it will be a bit of a struggle from here. And just to say about how quick Joni is, he was 18 seconds behind 2 laps ago when he went into the pits. He's now 11 seconds behind Bergen and just put the fastest lap of the race in on fresh hards. So it's far from over from him. Going to go on board with Aero Voice back in P9 again. Call Me the Brave was being said the cork in the bottle, but he's the one who's been able to keep out of trouble, which we keep saying is so vital around here, and he's been steadily in 8th place.
That's what he needs to get these points ready.
Yeah. Oh, J Sarge, well, got into the pits, so that's an early change, and it's a change for a front wing, so he must have missed it. Yeah. It's irritating, isn't it? For so many people, it's just one mistake. He's pushing to try and catch up with that Red Bull. And around here, if you don't have the pace, my advice is don't push, get comfortable. You know, settle for second or third. I know some of these drivers aren't simply wired that way, but if you push too hard, you'll find yourself way down the pack, and it's Bergen who's just going to make the move. He's just going to get out in front of him. And so Bergen, who did that pit stop all the way, I think on lap 2 it was, where he had a bit of a moment. He's going to be the man holding up J Sarge, and he'll be swearing under his hub. He's going to go for a move there. That's a ballsy move.
That was brave.
It was, but he gets it done. Just so much more confidence on the brakes, it seemed, and the door was only open ajar a little bit. He took the opportunity, and he's up into P11. He'll now have bits in front of him in the Aston Martin.
Yes, so as we like to call it, the Tier 2 Ministry of Defence.
Yes, it was, and I've mentioned in the Discord that I owe him a pint or two for what he did for me tonight. Unknowingly, he became my saviour, but I think it's one of those things.
That was my job.
It was your job, and then the plans changed, unfortunately.
I know. I'm having the joke.
No,
although J Sarge is trying to get him Rascast though.
You see, J Sarge, we know, likes a bit of a move. He's got the DRS open there. Is he going to go outside?
He tried to. Oh, he tried to do what Jeff always says to do. No heroics into Sandoval.
Yeah, and I'm afraid it hasn't worked out well for either of those two drivers there.
Front wings.
Yeah. We might be seeing that in the stewards, but it looked like an ambitious move to me. And now Bit has just let Bergen past. I wonder if Bergen is going to repay the favour on J Sarge now, because as we've said, these cars around here with no front wing are absolutely horrible, and it's a challenge just to even get them back to the pit lane. See where our gaps are. Yeah, Bit letting a Joni pass, so he's benefited from that as well, up into P12. It's a dangerous man now, and people have got to be wary about where he might come out after all of this, after all the pit stops have happened. Ant is our current top driver, who has had his pit stop, so taking that into account, I don't think he's quite in the net lead of the race. Pit stops around here usually take, in my experience, around about 16 to 18 seconds. Yeah.
It's P8.
Yes, Era, of course, Tier 2 driver, so not his fight.
Yes, he plays fair. He's a very clean racer, his Aero Voice. I had the pleasure of having some good battles with him in the past.
Yes, it is, and you always want to have that round here. Know that somebody can battle you fairly and clean, because you need confidence in your fellow drivers, right? You need that confidence that they're not going to push you into a wall, but you're not going to push them into a wall. So it's all respect around here is very, very important indeed. We stick on board with this battle with Joni though, because I think he might get a move. There's got a yellow up in sector 1. Is that? I don't know who's gone slow there. That's a Haas, I think. Is that Haas in the wall? Is that Kaiser Soze? Or was that...
I think it is. He's out of the race.
Yeah, Kaiser is out of the race, but no safety car or anything on screen yet. Call Me the Brave up into 7th. He's really becoming a trouble for these drivers. Driving so well defensively. It's really easy. If you know where to park your car on this circuit, it can be almost impossible. Despite the car might have a few seconds advantage from you, they might be a far faster driver. Doesn't make any difference, but Ali's going to go around the outside into Sandoval. Can he make it stick? No, he can't. Call Me the Brave takes the inside line. Now, I wonder...
Sorry, I was going to say, you mentioned defensive driving. It reminds me... Yes, 2001, I believe. I know just when they've reintroduced launch control again, it was Vinaldi and David Coulthard. DC was literally staring at the back of that arrow for so many laps.
Oh, I'm going to look at you. Jody up the inside, is he? On Bergen, but Bergen says, no, I'm not going to allow you to pass there, mate, and he's forced to back out. That's just proof that if you know where to stick your car and you can put it in the right place and point it in the right direction, there's just nowhere for anybody to go. You can't go off track, you can't use a lot of rumble strip, there's just a barrier and your tyre. Slayer's out at 5th place, and that's full yellow to VSC. I wonder how long this is going to stay out for, if anybody will take advantage. That is it Nick BT and Lorpy straight into the pits? They're taking advantage.
Front 4 is still going.
Yeah, I think they were just caught out by it. They couldn't get into the pits in time. So, yeah, very opportunistic from Nick BT and Lorpy. And, of course, there's that massive gap behind to Call Me the Brave. Call Me the Brave is in, though. I wonder if Ant is going to leapfrog those two drivers, or if Nick BT is going to come out in top. That's worked out so well for Nick BT, because look where he is now. He's in 5th. He's on a fresh pair of hearts that can definitely go to the end. And if there's a safety car, boy, he could be in the net lead of that race. 18 seconds, though, between him and the next nearest driver. If I was any of the top 4, now might be a good time to go to the pits. And Lorpy's going to drive through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car. He did the right move to come into the pits, and now he's gone and ruined it by earning himself another trip.
Kicking himself for that.
Yeah.
He will be kicking himself.
Around here is where you do not want to make any pit stop mistakes. It can be so costly. Just ask Danny Ricciardo.
Yes.
Let's see what's happening with the rest of the field now. Good gaps starting to form around about a second, so nobody's up on the gearbox. Let's have a look at the tyre difference now. So we've got Ant on 10 lap old hards, Joni on 7 lap old hards, up into 7th place and gaining. So he'll fancy his chances of maybe, I don't know, is a podium still on for him? Maybe, if he gets the moves done at the right time. And up the top, I think it's a question now of when these medium runners decide to pit. We've had one safety car which should extend the stint from about 18 laps up to 21 if they want, but the other virtual safety cars probably won't be enough to extend their the life anything beyond, I would say 25 maybe.
There's a possibility, but there's... Oh, I thought there was a... Still petered out a little bit at the moment. So
it has.
Spacing out.
J Sarge goes through. I don't know if that was Aerovoice letting him go, but Aerovoice very happy to make up the numbers there. 5 people out of this race already as well. We said it was a bit of a war of attrition.
It is normally here.
I don't know how many finished in Tier 2. Big wiggle there from J Sarge. Got to be so careful on the traction around here, because if you lose the back end, if you get a bit of rear locking...
Calvin is in the pits.
I'm going to stay on board with Nick BT. I think this is the man that he needs to come out in front of. If he doesn't, then Nick BT can make a lot of places, and it will give us a good idea of how important that pit stop was for the AlphaTauri man. Calvin is coming out of the pits now as he's just going through the last corner. It's going to be nip and tuck. I think that Calvin is going to get out ahead here and on fresher tyres. Yes, he is. So if you're in the top 4, I think anybody up there can pit safe in the knowledge that they will come out in the top 4, and it's going to give them a lot of confidence.
Although the advantage Calvin has as well, he is out in a lot of clean air.
Yes, it's the undercut now, isn't it? This is where all about timing a pit stop is so crucial. If you get the clean air and you can use those tyres, to their full potential. He's got all the rubber now he wants and a clear track. If he pulls out half a second, 1.5 seconds on these drivers up ahead, and if they decide to stay out and don't use the tyre, he could jump them. Like, if I was them, I'd be worried now getting into the pits, and that's just what SW has done. Our race leader into the pits.
He's got to be covering off that Haas.
Yeah, and I think it's a sensible decision from him. You're going to see anybody else follow suit. Chris Bailey stays out, G-Star stays out, Calvin is already pit. He's a long way behind. I think he's definitely going to come out behind the Red Bull man. Yep, there he is.
Plenty of time.
So that Red Bull man knows that whatever happens at the moment, as long as he just keeps track position, he's at least got a P3 finish in the bag. But he'll want more than that. He was the race leader. He was leading by 9 seconds. He'll hope that there isn't a safety car that ruins his day, and he'll be able to take the race win from here as we reach about the halfway mark in our Monaco Grand Prix.
It's a long race, but it flies.
The laps just keep on coming, don't they? It's corner after corner after corner. You can't switch off. If you do, you're into a wall. It's particularly after we've done lots of races around here where they've been half distance and we've had a longer qualifying in the past. Traditionally, that's what we used to do for Tier 2.
I think we did it for Tier 1 as well. We did the full qualifying and then 20-lap race, didn't we?
Yeah. It's to have to double that in your mind is incredible. Remember, there's like no flashbacks as well in this live racing. Any little mistake and you will be going back to the garage. So, yeah, hats off to anybody who can manage going around here without getting any damage or picking up any penalties whatsoever. Call Me the Brave, though, is still the one causing problems. He's come into pit, and I reckon he is the crucial car here for everybody in front of him. That 16 seconds you got from him to Joni, that's a free pit stop right there. Or you're on the cusp, right? If that goes up to 20, you can get out with plenty of time. And that's why it's so vital for people like LRL, like J Sarge, like Bergen, to try and pass this man, because he is causing a lot of issues. Ooh, J Sarge, big twitch there. I wonder if somebody like Bergen is going to take advantage of it, head down into Sandoval. No, it's all single file through here. Look at our up behind the back of that car. He's weaving from left to right, trying to find the space. Call Me the Brave goes wide through there. He's covering off potential bars. Oh my goodness me! LRL just clipped the inside, and that was a huge mess of carbon fibre. His front wheel went off, the other wheel went off, and that has brought out a full safety car.
Not what you want to see.
No, he was pushing hard, but that is Chris Bailey into the pits, G-Star into the pits.
You'd be stupid, you will be silly not to now.
Yeah, no, totally agree. Let's see where these two drivers come out then. SW is through.
Nick BT as well.
T is through, Calvin is through. He said it was a good idea.
Take it to the lane as well. The other Merc.
Yes. Oh, Ant's into the pits, 14 lap old cards. Yeah, it was that gap I said between Call Me the Brave that I said was a free pit stop. And Ant's clearly been listening. A fresh pair of mediums isn't a bad choice here, particularly when you know that they can definitely go towards the end. With Joni on 12 lap old hards, he hasn't taken that advice to come in, but he's still someone to watch for. Even on 12 lap old hards, I think that he can start pushing those cars around him. I don't know what team he's on, a team radio with G-Star, if those two will start to work together, but he caused a lot of problems to those top five.
Could do. Joni, he was down and out at one point, and he's been brought right back into the fight with this now.
Yeah, I think it just goes to show that round here you're never out of it, are you? Like yourself in the in Tier 2, you started in P20, and at one point you fought your way all the way up to, like, was it 5th, 6th? And you know,
yeah,
and,
we were
and had
right together.
Yeah. And the pit stops worked out as well. We were on the, we could both get to the end of the race. If you get the strategies right around here, you can turn a bad day into a very good one. Yeah. What? So, yes, I'm going to bore you now, but I think it is relevant to the conversation. So, how I was able to get the free pit stop in is just like what Ant's done there. So I was looking behind me all the time in my race, and I noticed But even on my mediums, I was making half a second to a second a lap on Bit, who was behind me, and he was 13 seconds, and that became 14 and 15 and 16, and my aim was to stretch that out to 20 and then pit, knowing that whatever happened, I would come out ahead of him and only have one car to overtake for the lead. So if you can get that knowledge from somebody who's watching the stream or a race engineer, or if it just, luckily for me, it was I could see the gap on the left-hand side to where that was, that's when you can take the opportunity, where you can make advantage of the roadblocks here and use them to your advantage, because even though it's very hard for people to overtake, you don't want to be the one stuck in the train of cars behind that slow car. You always want to make sure that you are out in front of them. So that was one of the keys to taking advantage of that, because I reckoned after I hadn't pit under the first two safety cars, I thought my race was done. I thought I was gonna have to pit, and somebody was going to be 6 seconds behind me, and I was going to be in P13, and I was going to look very, very silly indeed. But yeah, somehow all worked out.
Yeah, Hodge, we get different strategies to you and Simba.
What are they saying you should do? We got different advice in the YouTube chat.
He's just said in the YouTube chat. You mean you two had strategies?
We tried. We do actually try to put some in there. And as you say, you can have, I don't know, not nefarious tactics, but if you are working with a teammate and you know that you're on different strategies and one can be a roadblock and you can manufacture that gap there, that's a legit strategy around here. You have to use everything to your advantage. Of course, you don't want to be going too slow, that somebody may overtake you, but it is one of the few tracks where you can be fairly confident that as long as you're not missing a bit of front wing, somebody isn't going to have the tyre difference to overtake. And that was the other crucial thing that I found as well with my race. It was really vital that I took those mediums long enough that I went on the softs, because the difference between... If I'd gone on fresh hards, I don't think I would have had the tyre to overtake somebody on very worn hards, because there isn't the difference there. But fresh softs against very worn hards, you give yourself a much better opportunity, and you need to take every advantage you can around here if you want to make a move.
I've just read his response. He goes, "Ours is go for a beer after lap 5 and leave us to race blind, or we're out by then." I'll have some faith, Hodgie. You're a double champion, for crying out loud.
Is not racing tonight, of course. He would love to be here for Tier 1, but I know he is suffering from a foot injury, so thank you for joining in and listening to us on stream. We hope that you recover soon and that you are back in the car, because it is a shame to be missing one of our many champions.
Yes, it was a shame I missed. It was a shame I missed last week, unfortunately. But
yeah,
it's glad to be back tonight.
Yes, no, it's really nice to have you back, both in the car and in here, mate. It's an absolute pleasure. As see our cars wheeling their way through, we've got a very safety cars in this lap, so. Even though we've got a big gap between, is that a Alpine at the back? That's Era Voice in 13th, but he's trundling on the back. He's not in a rush. Let's see what SW and BDR do on this restart. 17 laps to go. Doesn't sound very much, but it is an awful long way around the streets of Monte Carlo. And we are away. Nick BT might have a bit of a run on Calvin, but it just simply isn't enough. You need to be alongside him to Sandoval, or it simply isn't happening. Everybody just stays line astern. I wonder if J Sarge will think of another move. He's seemed the raciest around here. We've seen him go for a few absolutely ambitious moves. He's all up the gearbox of Bergen. Bergen's been done by him once before. He won't want to be done again. And look, he covers that inside line before going out. I think the only person I've managed to see do an overtake where they sort of do the old switcheroo was yourself, Andrew, around that corner on Rooster. It was an excellent move where they just seemed to defend the inside so much they forgot the outside existed and you hopped around.
There was no real strategy for that move. I just prayed.
It's a bit like that round here, isn't it? You do have to go. Look at this. We've got the wing camera for J Sarge. He's so desperate because fast. They're going to go too wide through the Noble chicane. No, he has to pull out. And he will stay in 10th place. Oh no, there's contact! There's contact between Lorpy and Eddie. Dust behind. We just on the end of that, and they are both out. So this field that started out with 20 drivers has cut down to just 12. And we've got another safety car that's going to bring this field together. I don't think you pit now, though. You'll be an absolute madman unless you're somebody maybe like J Sarge, maybe like Aerovoice, who wants to get on a fresh pair of mediums and do so fairly risk-free. But J Sarge decides that he likes that singular point and he's going to keep on those hards.
I mean, you want to really stick for track position here, as you've said, every person who is an F1 fan knows. Track position around here is vital.
Yes, I am trying to think. Luckily, I've got my computer next to me. I've got Google with me. Where were the most overtakes at a Monaco Grand Prix? That's what I want to know.
I would have to say either into the Nouvelle Chicane or I'd say at the top of the hill, the Mirabeau, be the main ones.
The Monaco 2023, the one we've just had 22 overtakes. The highest since
crazy.
2011. Now, back in 2011, you had the super skinny cars, didn't you? I think. So, one of the big problems we have around here is the cars got a lot wider with the regulation changes, which means it's harder to go side by side. You can't get the same sort of traction or risks that you can with other cars, so it leads to a bit of a procession. Sorry, go ahead.
Although I will say the track has done some modifications in the last 20 odd years. It has been made wider in some parts because the swimming pool and the Rascas were a lot tighter back late 90s, early 2000s compared to what it is now. And I'll drop a couple of little bits of knowledge on the very nice ladies and gentlemen who are watching tonight. Do you know the lowest position this Grand Prix has been won from?
Oh, you mentioned it earlier. You mentioned it earlier to me. And it's fourth. Is it 14th on the grid? Is that right? Or was it 16th?
You'd be correct on your first guess. It's just 14th.
Get in. And that was, if I'm not mistaken, one of the most legendary races that has ever happened around these streets. Monte Carlo 1996, won by, as Murray Walker says, Olivier Panis.
Yes.
With a sort of... That was sort of a lesson in survival as well. I think we had rain at the start, Schumacher went out early, Gerhard Berger had a couple of problems,
yes.
Damon Hill was leading the Grand Prix comfortably, and then for the first time that season, his Renault engine gave up on him, so he tragically had to retire at the Nouvelle Chicane, meaning that he couldn't emulate his father in winning this race 5 times. That was a race that he would never go on to win, and instead the man who picked up the pieces in the Prost at the time, wasn't it, I believe? Ligier, thank you. It was, Olivier Panis, who became the first Frenchman to win a Grand Prix since Prost, I think, and held that record for a long time until I think it was Pierre Gasly who was the next Frenchman to win back in Monza.
2020 Monza. But I will say 2 more things. That race had the lowest amount of finishers actually circulating into the race at 3. And an interesting fact you will like to know is the fact is that David Coulthard had to borrow someone's helmet that day.
Really?
If you look at onboard footage from 1996, you will see he's in Schumacher's crash helmet.
Oh, wow, okay.
But we'll leave that as the race is restarting.
Yeah, SW's had an excellent gap here. He's gapped the rest of the field 1.6 seconds to the man in second place. So you want a quiet rest of the race, please, for these last 14 laps. And it's Nick BT who's going to be all over the back of Calvin. We fight for these last podium places. This race from Nick BT has really sort of fallen into his lap. These 2 safety cars have helped him as well. Those hards, 11 lap old, knowing that they've only got, 30 more laps to go, you can feel fairly comfortable on them now.
Yes, definitely, as I'm just going to have a quick check and see.
Oh, J Sarge on Bergen. He's done it again. He's done it once more. Just before the casino hairpin. It was excellent.
Checking the age of the tyres, though, with Nick BT and Calvin, there's only 2 laps between them. So it's not as big a gap as we thought.
No, it's not. The one big standout there is Joni with those 18-lap old hards. But if there's one man who can make them seem like 8-lap-old hards, it's him. So I do wonder if he will still be as fighty behind the Mercedes of Chris Bailey, who will be hoping for a mistake further up. Got the potential of a podium here. And it's kind of a racetrack where you either go for the move or you wait for somebody to make a mistake. Those are the only two options available to you.
Definitely, as SW is still we'll have to check later on to see who's in what car with this one, because this is a very Max Verstappen-esque performance tonight.
It is. That gap at the start of the last lap, I said he was 1.5 seconds ahead at the start of the safety car. He's now 5 seconds ahead. He made up 3.5 seconds on Calvin. I don't know if he's missing an end plate. Look at that, front right. That's what's turning him into this big corkscrew. Sorry, cork in the bottle.
Yeah, because it's cork in the bottle, it's a roadblock.
Yeah, because he hasn't got the amount of downforce that he would like, so...
No, yeah. But he's holding on exceptionally well.
He is.
The damaged car for P2, but...
I wonder if... I was fortunate not to get any damage during my race, but I know you had a couple of bumps and scratches. How
yes.
is if you lose an end plate round here, is it something that you can adapt to after a few laps? Like, you just know where to slow down, or does the car feel totally undrivable?
It depends on where you nick the car, because it's... You sort of try to learn a little bit after a while, but I think it was the tyres that did me in, because I was sliding out a lot of corners, and it just was letting people get through. Although, with his damage though, Calvin is actually starting to gap the AlphaTauri a little bit.
I think maybe the one problem with losing a bit of downforce on the front end is that it makes you a bit speedier in the 1 DRS zone, so Nick's going to have to get him through the corners. I think now is an excellent opportunity. If he can get side by side here, that's where we've seen people like Jay Sarge get a lot of moves done. That's where you got a move done as well. It's one of those places where if you get a better exit, the more downforce counts. But for the moment, Nick BT cannot find a way through. So back through the field, and is our medium runner, so he's nursing those tyres a bit. He's got G-Star ahead, but he will have a slight advantage just for now, and behind him is the very dangerous Jay Sarge as well, who's fighting all race. Call Me the Brave, Era Voice and Bit make up our final 3 places. Decided to go on the soft, so let's have a look out for any fastest laps from that group of cars.
The key thing is though now with Nick BT, with Chris, with Ujoni, with G-Star. Yes, I can understand you're in this train here. You're bottled up. You're getting frustrated, but you've got to just not do a silly move. You've just got to not be impatient. You've got to just not do anything stupid now, because I can guess literally from Nick BT down to, I think, is Anton? Just got to check who's in this group now, all the way to Sarge. You've just got to not do anything stupid and just be patient.
Agreed. You've got to hope that maybe Calvin makes another mistake, that car is so undrivable that he nicks another end plate and goes into a wall, which is very feasible. The time he is losing to somebody else on very similar tyres up ahead, he is losing, 1.5, 2 seconds a lap. It's going to mean a very easy win for the Red Bull man, but for everybody else behind it, must feel like torture. I guess who it does benefit though? People like Ujoni said that he's got 21 lap-old hards. He probably won't be spending that much because he's going so slow.
Well, I mean, now, even as you said, with SW just pulling away, is he just going to... He doesn't really have to have to take risks now. He can back off the pace a bit more.
Yeah, knowing you can back off is a real mental boon. You don't want to keep pushing around here, because that's when you make mistakes. Jay Sarge into the pits in 9th, so I don't know if that's another front wing change.
Front wing change, I'll have a look.
Yes, it is.
It is, again on the McLaren.
Carbon fibre bills are through the roof. Is Nick Beattie going to go for a move? Is Chris Bailey going to be opportunistic? Almost side by side through there, but no. Once again, it is single file, and this is bubbling up. I can see that as we approach the last 10 laps of the race, who is going to be the person to, you said you'd be that patience, but something's got to give, hasn't it? Somebody's going to go for a big move at some point.
You definitely think so.
might be a bit of carnage. So, what do you do then if you are Nick BT? Do you wait this out? Do you go for a lunge? Where are your overtaking opportunities? They are few and far between, but where would you think the best chance for a move is around here?
I think, looking with, especially as you mentioned with Calvin probably lacking the downforce a bit, he's going to be a bit quicker in a straight line. I think maybe the chicane may be his best bet, but he's got to get, Nick BT's got to get the better run off of Portier, just before the tunnel, just so he can get a better slingshot.
Yeah,
but he just doesn't need to just do anything silly, because if he does anything silly and messes it up, he's got Chris Bailey and Ujoni right up his gearbox. So he's going to be an interesting last couple of laps for this.
You're right. I thought he should be in attack mode, but going through that first sector, he's clearly not quite as quick as people like Chris Bailey, and he almost has to defend through there, which costs him so much time. Here's the place to use
my advice, though.
Yeah,
he's got a much better run off there, and I don't know whether he's going to try into the chicane. No, he's too far back.
Yeah, that is the biggest problem around here. The tyre difference just isn't enough. He's got 2 lap older hards. If he was on a pair of mediums or softs, I think he might be able to do it, but his tyres aren't getting any younger.
Yeah,
oh, is he going to go for a move?
Oh, that's brave, Nick BT. Well done.
Oh, J Sarge is out of the frame, but wow, what a move there from Nick BT. He finally got side by side, and he's got DRS. So now he just needs to keep it. Is Bergen going to think about a move? He's right up his gearbox, but no, I reckon Nick BT is going to be out, off and away, and it'll spell more trouble for BR Calvin if he doesn't quite get the run he wants through these high downforce corners.
You think so?
Well, that is 1 down. Now let's go on board with follow Chris Bailey, because I reckon that battle's done. Now the Mercedes man will be hoping that Nick BT gets up the road, make sure that Calvin is out of DRS range, and then it'll be his turn to pull up a wonderful move. Such a shame. We mentioned it before. Oh, Joni and G-Star. I don't know if that's an orchestrated move or they've let them pass, but I don't know what happened there. No, G-Star was ahead of Joni.
Calvin 3 seconds as well.
Oh, that's going to be such a shame. With him having damage, he can't just be the roadblock now. He knows that, gosh, he would go all the way back to at least 8th, maybe 9th, if Bergen is still in the gap. Let me see if we've got the gap to the leader and work that out. Oh. As they go across the line. And Calvin, yeah, he's called that a day. He said, no, that 3-second penalty was enough for me. He's popped into the pits.
Which is a shame. He's drove really well this race.
Yeah, it is a shame. He did very, very well with what was a lot of damage on that car, clearly making it very hard to drive. But now he can put a pair of softs. He's only into 8th, which, like I said, was probably what he was going to get with that penalty anyway. So now he can have a little bit of fun.
Try and go for the fastest lap.
Yep. So where are these battles now? We've got SW very safely up the top with a 17-second lead. Nick BT, that gap between him and Chris Bailey is a second. You would have hoped Calvin would have stayed there a little bit longer so he could pull that gap up to a second or 2 and have that security, but I don't think Chris Bailey is going to give it to him. And behind the Mercedes man is the ever-present Dutchman, G-Star Snipes, all over the gearbox. These two, you can't keep them apart. They come together in MRCX and they come together here in Tier 1. I think we're in for another good battle as we head into the last 5 laps.
Yes, they're eternally just stuck together like Joker and Batman.
Which one's which? We'll let you decide in the YouTube comments.
I'm not risking it. I'm not.
It's Chris Bailey now. He's on the attack. I said that he looked a bit racy than Nick BT through Sector 1, and he is trying it now. It's all about the exit through Casino, so is he going to go for any move here? No, he doesn't. Single file once again. It's this building up of tension. When is the move going to happen? When are they going to try and start to put their points on the line, or is Chris Bailey going to say, no, I'm happy with third place? 15 points is enough for me.
Let's have a...
Through the Nouvelle chicane here. It does seem that Nick BT is a bit on the defensive. Those tyres, 5 laps older than the man behind him, who was forced into an earlier pit stop. And I said earlier tonight, around about lap 20, I know he's had a couple of laps under the safety cars, but lap 20, 21, that's where we really start to feel a difference in how the car drives.
Definitely.
As we go up past Andrew, up through Beau Rivage into Massenet. This is where if you hook it on the outside you might be able to get through Casino. Mirabeau is the next opportunity, but as they avoid that bump it sort of sets you up to defend the inside of that corner. That's why it works so well. Calvin there with the fastest lap of the race on the softs. Like I said, he was going to have a bit of fun and he'll finish in the top 10, so he's currently due 2 points and an extra 1, that's 3. No bad day's work. Let's go to Chris Bailey as well. See where his braking points are. Look as he goes through the Nouvelle chicane and up to back. Kind of get the sense that yes, he knows he's got the pace to get past, but where can he get it done? UPT of course got the move down through here into the Rascasse. Remember that car in front had a lot of damage, and oh, it's just a little twitch from Chris there, and that's what he doesn't want, because even though he's got the DRS he can't close the gap up, and you see it from on board as well. Those gaps just look so much bigger. It's actually G-Star who's behind him there. You can't go too wide through Massenet.
This part of the track, no way.
Yeah. If you go too wide through Massenet, somebody will try and stick it at the inside, and as soon as they're side by side, they will take that advantage. But no, going through here, yeah, it's G-Star who's looking fightier now. It's those little dips and dives he's got behind him, trying to look for that. You know, is the door open there? Will I hit the apex there? Nothing going. It's such a fascinating battle. I think Johnny's just going to start to fall away now as those tyres. 20 lap old hards.
28 laps, yeah.
Yeah. Aerovoice is out. So that means that bit at the back will be guaranteed points. We've only got 10 finishers in what's been a bit of a war of attrition here. So we head into the last few laps. Oh, but Bailey is G-Stars through, is he? As Bailey, yeah, Bailey's missing a front wing, so I don't know if they came together. But that's such a shame for the Mercedes man. As a yellow flag, is he going to pit? No, he says there's 4 laps left. He says I'm going to stay out. I'm going to try and get rescue as many points from this race as possible. So we've got the bizarre sight of a man with no front wing fighting a man on 28 lap old hard tyres. Who's going to win? Johnny's already side by side. I think Chris is going to have to be sensible. And yes, he backs out of that one. So such a shame for the Mercedes man. I wonder if we'll be seeing that in the stewards later. Didn't see what happened on stream, so don't know if that was a mistake from him or if anything happened between the two of them. Now it's G-Star's turn to have a go at Nick BT. I'm just going to have a look on that Ferrari. I can't see. No, the crucial thing is there's no damage on that Ferrari, so maybe there wasn't side by side. Usually, particularly with simulation damage, if there is a bit of wheel banging, you might get at least a loss of an end plate. So
G-Star is all over the back of that AlphaTauri. He's looking.
It is 5 lap difference with these tyres now, which I said 20 laps. They'll be starting to scream a bit the hards. Nick BT has to sort of be in conservation mode. Whereas G-Star doesn't look like he wants to save a bit of that tyre. He's ready to spend it. Lap 38 they're going to approach on, so G-Star wants to get it done at the DRS straight. He will have 2 more bites of the cherry. Anything going as we head down into Sandoval. He'll try and get alongside, but it's so difficult to even get any part of your car alongside, and Nick BT has shut the door. Going to get on board with G-Star as we head through Massenet. He simply doesn't have the speed and couldn't carry it through. As you go into Mirabeau, Mirabeau's the place I think where you can get the move done, but Simply not enough in the car. Chris Bailey still with no front wing. He's hanging out there. I wonder if he's going to get help from his teammate Ant, who appears just be holding off the attacks of Bergen. Bergen, shout out to him on 24 lap old mediums. He'd made those tyres last. We need to make them last 2 more laps though if he wants to get home in 7th place. Back up top, this is the fight for 2nd place between Nick BT and G-Star Snipes. Just 0.2 seconds in it now. And the laps are starting to tick away as SW starts his final lap. This will be the last couple of chances that the Ferrari man will have. He's gone very wide there into the rust gas. Chris Bailey, 3-second time penalty as well. It's gone from bad to worse. I wonder as well if that means that Calvin's going to leapfrog in there as well, because Calvin's only 2.7 seconds behind on the softs and will be making up so much time compared to Chris.
It's going to be a lot.
Oh, G-Star! He's lost his front wing! He's gone too far into Massenet. And now what's he going to do with the Ferrari man? That was sort of, his eyes are bigger than his stomach there. SW has left the session. Goodness me, that's a bad time to lose connectivity. He's out. Are we seeing Olivier Parner's style end to this race here? Or is he going to cross the line as a ghost, 3 wheels on his wagon per se, and win the race anyway? He'd gone 38.5 laps. It's not a good time to lose connection, but as he goes through the final corner, it'll be a very deserved win for the Red Bull man. Controlled the race pretty much from start to finish, and it's 1st place for him. Let's go back to see where G-Star and Eugeni are. I wonder if the Ferraris are going to play nice with one another. Both of them suffering a little bit. Nick BT, excellent defence from him. Where others lost their head, he kept his. It's going to be across the line in 2nd place for the AlphaTauri man. Excellent drive from him. G-Star in 3rd. Eugeni had that accident right at the start, lost his front wing. Good recovery drive from him up into 4th place. Chris Bailey across the line in 5th. Don't know what's happened to Ant, if there's been an issue with him. Berger's gone across the line in 6th, and it's going to be enough space for him. Calvin in 7th. And yes, he's missing a front wing as well, so he must have had a little bit of an incident on the last lap. Such a shame. He'll be in 8th place. Call me the brave. We said that he was the cork in the bottle for a lot of it, but most importantly, he's got through to the end of the race. Bitt has finished in 10th as well, with no front wing on his wagon either, so we will just take in the last few moments of the Alfa Romeo driver. Excellent race from him. When you get points, it's worth shouting out. You know, you've had 10 other Tier 1 drivers who failed to make it to the end. Big round of applause for the Alfa Romeo driver who comes home in 9th. So that'll wrap it up for us. Let's see who the game gives driver of the day to. He's going to give it to Ant, who made up all that space from 20th place up into 8th it was in the end. Andrew, who's your driver of the day?
I'd probably have to give it to Nick BT, actually.
I think I would agree there. Excellent overtake from him on Calvin. He bided his time and finally made his way through. Good defence as well from both Bailey and G-Star, both of which felt the pressure a little bit and ended up losing their front wing towards the end, and he kept his. And yeah, it's a well-deserved 2nd place from down the grid. So SW as well, big shout out to him. He's the race winner tonight, but that is your podium. Celebrate that. SW in 1st, Nick BT in 2nd, and G-Star Snipes will round out the top 3. So let's take you through the rest of the grid then. So we've got Eugeni started in 1st, had that accident at the start, was able to recover to 4th place. Excellent race from him. Chris Bailey might have lost his front wing towards the end of the race, but he finishes still in 5th. Bergen in P6, Calvin P7 in the Haas, Ant P8, Call Me the Brave in 9th, and then it's Bitt in the Aston Martin. Era Voice apparently just had enough time at the end. Didn't disqualify. It's a DNF actually, yes, for him. So DNF, he'll be in 11th. J Sarge 12th. Eddie Dust 13th. Lorpy 14th. LRL 15th. Slayer in 16th. Kaiser Soze 17th. Kid Dynamite and Saviour in 18th and 19th. And Zayad, unfortunately, rounds off the grid in P20. Thank you for joining me, Andrew. It's been lovely to have you. And thanks for joining
me, Rob.
That's all right, no problem. Lots of interesting races always happen around Monaco, and if you're interested in more, then please tune in on Wednesday night where we'll have action from Tier 3 and Tier 4. Take care, everyone.
Have a good night, all. Take care.